All right, today we are diving into a story. It's all about incredible technology, but also some really big human consequences. And it's all happening at one of the most important economic hubs on the entire planet, the Port of LA. So, to really get a sense of the scale here, let me ask you a question. What do you think a $1 trillion traffic jam looks like? I mean, really picture it. Here's a hint. It's not on a freeway. No, it's happening right now at our ports. And the answer? Well, it's pretty staggering. Get a load of this number. 9.9 million. That is how many shipping containers, the big metal boxes, moved through just the port of Los Angeles in 2022 alone. That kind of volume it's almost impossible to wrap your head around. And this is the heart of it all. The Port of Los Angeles, it's not just some local harbor. Think of it as America's busiest seaport, a major artery for the entire global economy. And for our purposes, it's basically the main character in the story we're telling today. But here's the thing. A port this big, really ports all over the world, they're facing a huge problem. It's basically a case of modernize or get totally overwhelmed. The old way of doing things, everything by hand, mountains of paperwork, it just doesn't cut it anymore. Trade volume is just exploding, and you've got new threats like cyberattacks, not to mention environmental pressures. The whole system is just straining at the seams. So, what's the solution? Well, it's this idea called a smart port. The easiest way to think about it is like a port getting a massive tech upgrade, kind of like going from a flip phone to the latest smartphone. We're talking about things like IoT sensors tracking every single container, or AI figuring out the absolute best way to stack and move them. The whole point is to make everything faster, safer, and a lot cleaner. Okay, so let's zoom in on the Port of LA and see how they've tackled one of the biggest threats out there, cybersecurity. And trust me, their journey over the last 10 years or so is pretty fascinating. And to understand the stakes, just look at this number, $1 billion. That's how much stuff moves through the Port of LA every single day. So you can see a cyber attack here isn't just some local issue. It could literally send shockwaves through the whole country's economy. And yeah, they didn't just flip a switch on this, it was an evolution. If you look at this timeline, you can see that back in 2014, they kicked things off with something called the CSOC, the Cybersecurity Operations Center. That was all about defending their own internal systems. But then, by 2022, they launched something really game-changing, the CRC, or Cyber Resilience Center. This wasn't just about protecting their own house anymore, it was about protecting the whole neighborhood, the entire port community. It's such a cool, innovative idea that it's already winning awards. This really breaks down that shift in thinking perfectly. The old way, the CSOC, it was like a fortress. High walls, just focused on protecting what's inside. But the new CRC, it's so much more like a neighborhood watch. Everybody, the tenants, the cargo handlers, everyone is sharing info on threats as they happen, in real time, to protect the whole community. It is a massive leap forward. Okay, so they've got this amazing digital shield, but that was really just the beginning. The next big revolution, well, it's happening right there on the docks, with actual physical automation. I want you to just picture this for a second. A massive container gets lowered onto a truck trailer, and seconds later, the truck just drives off by itself. These things are guided by this crazy web of sensors and AI. They navigate turns, they yield to each other, they drop off cargo with perfect precision, and there's not a single human in sight. I know, it sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, but this is happening right now. And as cool and futuristic as that sounds, this is where we get to the real heart of the conflict in this story. Because all this automation is having a very real, and honestly, a pretty painful impact on the people who work there. And to really get the human side of this, you have to understand what these jobs actually mean. The union president, Marcus, he put it perfectly. He said, these are jobs where it takes one income to take care of your whole family. So we're not talking about just any job. These are solid, family-supporting careers that have been the backbone of this community for generations. And this is the number that is just terrifying for them. The union's projection is that if a terminal goes fully automated, the workforce could plummet from 8,000 people all the way down to just 800. That's a 90% drop. Just let that sink in. And this chart it lays it out in the starkest terms possible.
You see that bar for the current workforce? 8,000 people. And right next to it, the potential automated workforce of 800. Seeing it like that, the difference is just devastating.
So, what's happening in Los Angeles, it's not some isolated thing. It's really a preview of the huge, fundamental questions that basically every industry, every port, and honestly every country is going to have to deal with sooner rather than later.
Because this whole smart port idea, it's not an easy path. It's full of hurdles. For one, the costs to implement this stuff are massive. Then you've still got those cybersecurity risks that never go away. And then the big one. What do you do about training and reskilling the people whose jobs are either changing completely or just disappearing?
And that right there, that's the ultimate balancing act, isn't it? How do we take advantage of all this incredible progress, all this efficiency that technology gives us, but do it without just leaving behind the very people who built these industries with their own two hands?
So I'll just leave you with this to think about. As our ports, our factories, our whole world, as it all gets smarter and smarter, what's our responsibility here? How do we make sure that the future we're building isn't just efficient, but that it's also human?